Alright, hi everyone, this is going to be a bit complicated to record, but this is a follow-on from the last video talking about that kind of AI-assisted worker bot hive mind network thing that I was building. So I wanted to give you just like a quick little demonstration of the communication, because I've just linked up like the Google Sheets interaction. So basically I can now ask the network to help me plan something, and that will demonstrate like the entire pipeline going on. So the AI interprets what I want, it generates a command, it sends it out to the network. One of the computers responds, which is this one, because this one's been authorized for planning tasks, and then the result of that is it will then interact with the Google Sheets document, and with that interpreted command it will generate a change in my planner. So just to explain the setup, I have my desktop which has the Sheets document, and I probably need to block some things out. I've got the server running. Now technically the client and the server is basically the same thing. They can be combined into one script because they both listen for messages and then pass the results based on their configurations. So technically they could be combined and then just have a check at the beginning to see whether a server's already running, and then if not, start one anyway. But at the moment, for the sake of development, they're kept separate. On this machine here, if I just start up the client, give me one moment. Okay, well, it wouldn't be a proper video without some errors. So sometimes it works, sometimes it connects and then fails the connection. So let me just restart this again. All right, I think that's going to play nice now, but I just need to do a little test. So if I type in test there, okay, it does appear on the main screen. All right, good. So hopefully that keeps behaving nicely for us. And let me just increase the size of the text so you can actually see it on the screen. Okay, so when we do this test and when we get the AI to interpret something from this machine, when it pushes it to the network, you should see a little bounce, like a little ping appear here, meaning that this laptop has received it. Now this one is authorized to do nothing. It only listens. So it's not going to react to the planner request. It's just going to display the result there to say, hey, the message has reached this node in the network. And then that'll be it. And then at the same time, we will also see it appear on the main desktop. And then hopefully we will see a change in the document. Okay, so on my Surface tablet here, I'm going to start the interpreter. So there are a few ways to do this. We could run a client on this and then write commands and requests, and that will just get sent immediately. But the interpreter is a bit different because the interpreter is that open AI layer. So now we can type in plain English things, and you can imagine that when I hook up like an audio transcription model to this, maybe like the Whisper API, I would just be able to say something and then that will transcribe it into text, and then the next phase will be exactly the same. It'll convert it into a command. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in something generic in here, like I want to plan a YouTube video for, well, let's test this. Let's do something like the 17th of April, because I usually release on Mondays. So 17th of April called Unbox or something like that. So it's basically saying I want to plan a YouTube video for the 17th of April called Unbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter, and after I press enter, I'm going to probably keep this pointed at the screen, and then we'll try and see what happens at the same time. So keep an eye on the back laptop as well. So enter. It's generated a command. Ah, there we go. It all happened. So it generated a command here, and then there was a pause. And that pause in time was when it was basically opening a little virtual client to push to the network. When that happened, we got the command coming inbound here on the server, and we got it appearing over here. Now this laptop didn't react. The server didn't react because that's not authorized to do planning tasks, but this little machine was the one that was responsible for actually making the change on the Google Sheets document, because this one was authorized for planning tasks. So when it opened that little virtual client to push a message to the network, it also checked its configuration, which basically has like the behavioral settings for what tasks you're supposed to be responsible for, recording, research, planning, etc. And it noticed that it was responsible for planning. So that triggered our little API script, which connects to the Google Sheets API, and that is why the change was made. And if you see here inside the Sheets document, it's found the right date, it's also found the right column, YouTube video for the main channel, and then it's made a note about planning it there. But there are other things it can do because it's an AI model. So I'm going to start the interpreter again, and this time I'm going to give it less information, and I'm going to like ramble a bit more. Can you help me plan some kind of short for the main channel? I want it to be released on the 22nd of April, and I want it to be about, what should we make it about? New community products. Okay, so I will show you that here. Can you help me plan some kind of short for the main channel? I want it to be released on the 22nd of April. I want it to be about new community products. So I'm going to show you that. Okay, so notice how there's no name for the project this time. So for a command to be generated, a name is going to be required at the end of that because we need something to put inside of the box. So that'll be the 22nd of April. That should appear here when it does. So it needs to generate some kind of name for this project. So I'm going to press enter and we're going to see what happens again. Okay, so it's got a command. It's generated a name in the command. That's being received. And there we go, that's been added. Oh yeah, I was clicked on the wrong one because I said short instead of video. So what it's done here is it auto-generated a name for the project, Community Products Short, because I didn't provide one specifically. So this is an example of how the command generation basically auto-fills, auto-completes based on like this contextual interpretation. So that's where the AI is really important. So I know this has been a bit of a messy video because I'm basically like juggling devices here, but that's a demonstration of like how the pipeline works. Now, obviously, like a Google Sheets cell change isn't very impressive, but if you think about what those things could be substituted for, that could be triggering any kind of automation with contextual information that I've either provided or has been generated in some way for like any part of the workflow. So I just thought it might be interesting for you to see this as like a live example. I want to try and figure out that little connection problem we had at the beginning as well, because that was a bit annoying, but it is still working. It'll probably be a matter of exception handling. So yeah, and I also need to make it a bit easier to deploy on different devices, because at the moment, obviously I still need to like install the modules individually. I have a requirements file that works all right, but also absolute paths in the code. I've only got like 3 files where I still have absolute paths. I need to offload those to a text file as well. And that's the things like configurations, API keys, and authentication keys. So yeah, fun stuff. I will leave it there if you made it to the end. Put a robot emoji and yeah, have a great day.